again with the white pieces against Shirali 62. Rated 1386. And we get it, Jobava London on the board. He plays c6, saying, no Jobava London for you. End of story. So we just play e3 and open up our light square bishop. He plays h6 so that he can retreat his bishop, and we, in case we pawn storm it. So he wants to go bishop f5. I'm going to develop in a way that prevents that move. So he goes bishop g4 instead, saying, well, I'll just do this, and then when you put the knight here, I have a pin. But I'm not going to put the knight there. I'm going to play f3, controlling the center for free, forcing his bishop back to this diagonal. But instead he goes to this diagonal. We've seen this in another speedrun game. This is wrong because after we pawn storm him, he has to go here, and when we take that, this transformation of pawn structure, it may look like it's not a big deal, but it's game losing. So it's a very big deal. Because he played h6, he needed to recapture that way. So now that we have a much better position, we can just develop a piece with a threat, prepare long castles. He brings the king closer to defend the pawn, but I mean, I don't know how that's going to end for this guy. I kind of want to attack this pawn again, so I'm thinking h4, h5. Alternatives. We could long castle, but let's go h4 and try to, okay, so he goes e6, opens the bishop, controls the square, I guess, opens the queen, but nothing that matters too much. I'm going to throw in h5 and congregate on this point. And he pushes past hitting the bishop, but now we can throw in the intermezzo here. He moves his king over. Maybe he wants to do a queen trade. So if we go here and he just slides his king over, what do we do there? I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's just do it because it blocks his bishop. And if he goes for the queen trade, we can retreat our queen and his king still blocks his bishop, so I don't mind that. Our bishop is hit. We can move it a little bit closer. That's sensible. Could retreat it. That's sensible. I guess if you move it forward and he tries developing knights, he's threatening to trade for it. Maybe let's keep it as a sniper piece. Okay, let's keep the sniper piece for now, a little further back. Because it's not really, So he does include the knight instead of go for the queen trade. I could just long castle. Let's do that. Let's keep it simple. He moves his knight to the other side. Not sure what any of this does, so I don't mind seeing it. Now that I'm castled, makes a lot of sense to just push. So let's do that. He takes. Now if you take with this pawn hangs. Do we care? Maybe we just develop the knight. He forks our rooks. We could go here, threatening stuff. Is that deadly? Probably. Otherwise, we can take with the knight, improving the knight since it's never going to do anything here. And I don't really need it to defend the king since he doesn't have any attack. And this would get another piece in. It would also coordinate on the dark square. So that's definitely the right choice. Only downside is you don't get the square for your knight, but you maintain your pawn chain. He recaptures. You can take back with the pawn or the queen. The pawn opens the F file for the rook to coordinate. That looks nice. It also opens up the square for the knight, so that's the right choice. It also stops his knight from the center, so it's definitely the right choice. We're not up anything, but our position is crushing. So he tries to get his king to safety, which wastes a lot of time, which we're happy to see. I wonder if we just blast open, since he aligned like that. He's controlling this square the most out of anything, but I say we do it. If he runs with his king, his queen's in the line of fire. There's also this check and this check. So if you go here and he takes with the c-pawn, I mean, you still take. If he takes with the knight, sack the rook here. I mean, can't be bad. Let's do it. Could have brought the knight in too. So he takes with the pawn, and maybe we could still bring the knight in, because his king can't really go anywhere. If we give it this light squared check, the bishop covers this diagonal. So it's kind of odd, but he'll have to maybe go back. What does that allow us to do? Yeah, maybe that's not the move. If we just develop the knight, obviously this pawn is pinned. If he just runs with the king, I mean, we could just jump it in with lots of threats, but let's take this pawn and just open things up as much as possible. Remove as many pawns as possible. This does let his knight in, but we can even win the knight. But I don't really want to win the knight. So now let's see. If we go here, what changed? He still has to probably go to... Okay. I was going to say he has to go here. And then I guess at that point, the knight's still pinned because of the queen. So what if we just develop our knight and then go like rook e1? I mean, it's all overwhelming, so it doesn't really matter how you convert, but it's still nice to look around for all your options, try to find, you know, what's best and then what you enjoy. And the difference between taking with the e pawn instead of the c pawn is that in the other line, when you take with the c pawn, if I go c4, threatening to win the knight, you have a move maybe like rook c8 pinning the pawn. So it gave you just more options if you captured the other way. But this did look more natural to take this way and keep your pawn structure intact. So let's go through the game. I have 1 inaccuracy, all zeros, 24 center pawn. So 1 inaccuracy, but 92%. It's so harsh. So we have a Jobava London on the board. And then we start. Center, development. Development and center, and anti-development. Improving move for free. Forcing them to go back, but they never want to go here because it looks super awkward. So they always go to the wrong square, and now you're just winning. Plus 1.5, the game is way easier for white. Improve for free, gain space for free. And now, I've mentioned this in other videos, but once they push this h6, if you can take this with a knight, that's even better because then you have the bishop pressuring the square. Here we don't have a knight, so we take with the bishop. Free stuff because this is positionally lost. Plus 1.8. This pawn is really indefensible. You only have the king, and I mean the king's not a good defender, of course. So we improve a piece for free. And now he defends, and plus 2. We add another attacker. It's gaining space for free because we're threatening h5. Gaining space for free. Improve a piece for free. Force move. King safety and development. Center. and king safety. Force move plus 2.5. So basically a winning position here because of his king's location and his terrible development. Force move plus 3. And somehow this makes it plus 6. I think because this square allows for the perfect thing. I noticed afterwards that the knight, once it lands here, you know, it's on like the perfect square. But it's okay. We still push in the center. It has to be winning because anything he does has to be bad for him because of this alignment. King and queen, not just king, not just queen. It's destruction. He takes, kind of forced, but not really. You could do whatever you want. He puts his knight here and it's plus 5. I was trying to find the best or my own personal way to convert. And of course, I mentioned you can just win the knight here, but I didn't really want to. So I was looking at queen f5, and they keep oscillating between these two as the best. Queen f5 looks a little more delicious because the king has to kind of, it doesn't want to go and block its own pieces, so it goes here. And now you have just freedom. He's undeveloped. And look at, I mean, look at this. You bring the knight out. Okay, he goes for the queen trade, but whatever, you don't even want it. Throw in a check. He blocks, and just look at the position. Let me turn the lines off so you can see. Not good for him. Of course, you can always just win the knight earlier. Makes life a lot easier. But I like the way all of this development looks. That's what I was looking at. So, just another line in the Jobava London. I think it's important to notice here that I don't just bring my knight out and allow bishop f5 or bishop g4 for that matter. I put my bishop here first, knowing there's no knight harassment and that he can't play this. And that when he plays this, I don't just give him the easy life with knight f3, I give him the hard life with f3. So, something to consider for yourself. Good luck in your chess. See you in the next video.